The silent damage of stop crying parenting. The silent damage of stop crying parenting. One sentence repeated over the years can shut down a child emotionally. Now, join me tonight on Parenting with Coach Ailua, where we'll be talking about the damage, the silent damage of stop crying parenting. You know, when a child is crying and you are saying, stop crying, have you ever said this to your child? Hmm? Especially when you have a toddler that would throw tantrums frequently. And you said things like, stop crying. Why are you crying? What does this really mean? You know, you are strong now. Boys don't cry. You are fine. You'll be all right. This is nothing serious. And all of that. Hmm? Have you said that to your child or your children? Did you know that those words could be teaching your children to hide their emotions? Have you ever thought that those statements like boys don't cry, why are you crying? This is not a big deal. You will get over it. Are you crying because of this little thing? You will be fine. You will be okay. Have you ever thought of it that this statement could be teaching your children something very, very dangerous? Hmm? Did you know that those words may be teaching your child even something far more dangerous than emotional control? Your goal is to teach your child how to control emotions, how to control uh, tears, manage their feelings, and all of that. But have you ever thought of it that those statements could actually be teaching your children something more dangerous than emotional control? Have you ever thought that those words could be teaching your child to disconnect from his or her feelings? This is a big deal. Let me send you back into your childhood. Can you remember something painful from your childhood that maybe nobody took you seriously, and that thing meant so much to you? Maybe I'm trying to remember something that happened to me that was so important to me, but that nobody actually took seriously. I can't really call up anyone now. But maybe, for instance, maybe a child. Okay, let me use this instance. Maybe a child is crying that someone wrote on my book. Someone wrote on my book. Someone wrote something I don't want on my book. And you're like, go and erase it now. This is not a big deal now. Is this why you are crying? Why are you now? Because of this little thing and all of that. Can you remember something, if something like that happened to you as a child? That's something that you took very, very seriously. And unfortunately, people around you, maybe your parents, your uncle, or your teacher, or somebody, didn't even take that thing seriously. Many adults cannot remember what happened in primary school exactly. Many of us, maybe some very, very important things, but many of us may not be able to remember what happened to us in primary school. But we can remember exactly how we felt hmm, when we were crying, when we were complaining, when we were down emotionally, and somebody dismissed that pain. Something happened recently, about a year ago, going to a year. I was sharing something on my social media social media page during our 10th year wedding anniversary. So I was trying to talk about the pain that I went through, the odd experiences that I had while I was growing up. And my uncle saw that post, and my uncle responded. He responded as someone that knew me. Actually, he did. But he didn't know that they are part of me that he didn't know. And in that response seems to sound like, he was dismissing my pain. And I was like, what am I saying? What you are saying? Yes, he was saying, I'm your uncle. I know you and all of that. I said, yes, you're my uncle. But that doesn't mean you should dismiss. I was sharing my childhood pain. And because you know me, you are dismissing my pain. Hmm? Maybe by now, we will remember one or two things that happened um, to us. So that's why today I want to show you why children never forget emotional invalidation. Emotional invalidation. Children never forget emotional invalidation. And I'm going to tell you why. In this session, excuse me, I'm going to tell you why tonight. All right. Hmm. All right. So sorry about that. I need to quickly fix something. So I want to show you why children never forget emotional invalidation, how it affects them into adulthood. This is critical. And what to do or what to say instead of this stop crying parenting that many of us unknowingly, because we are not well informed, we are not well prepared, we say or we do to our children. I'm going to teach you. You know that I'm not going to stop at telling you what you are doing that is not right. I will also equip you with what is it exactly that you need to do so that you can get your parenting right. This is not a teaching about allowing children to be dramatic. No, trust me, if you have been following me, you will know that I'm not going to teach you what to make your children, what to make you to raise dramatic children. This is not permissive parenting. Of course, if you have been following me, you know that I'm not part of that. I won't teach permissive parenting. This is not even about raising fragile children. No, it's not about raising fragile children. It is about understanding the difference between managing behavior and managing emotions. Yes, the difference between tonight's teaching will, expose you to the difference between managing behavior and managing emotions. Many of us don't know the difference between the two. Hence, we keep, doing things that are affecting our children emotionally without us even knowing. Without us, knowing that. Many parents stop the cry. We stop the cry. Most of our focus is just get our children to stop the cry. Stop crying. Stop being dramatic. You are too sensitive, especially if the tantrum or if the child is being emotional publicly, when our prestige, when our status, when we feel like, this child is embarrassing me. Oh, people will now say I cannot manage my child. Oh, people will now say I'm raising spoiled child and all of that. And let me tell you this, that embarrassed parents who feel embarrassed because of how their children are expressing feelings, expressing emotions publicly, will actually react instead of respond. There are two different things. Reacting is different from responding. Reacting, most times, it may stop the behavior temporarily, but at the cost. It will cost that child something. And most times, it is that child's emotional stability. So there's a difference between b- being reactive and being responsive. When our children are, misbehaving or being emotional, throwing tantrums, being dramatic and all of that, it is better that we respond and not react. So many of us stop the cry, but we never address the feelings. It's like solving a problem halfway. In fact, leaving the most important part of the problem unsolved. Unsolved. So we stop the cry, but we never address the feelings. We never address the emotion behind the crying. And feelings that are ignored don't disappear. Feelings that are dismissed, feelings that are ignored, feelings that are suppressed, they don't disappear. No, they don't. They go underground. They hide underground. They hide and they would resurface. They will. And that's a problem many of us are having now, even as adults. Hmm. Even as adults. So I have seen children who stop crying around their parents, children who are not even free to express emotions. And that doesn't end there. What that means is that the child has learned to cry alone. Because even as adults, there's no crime in crying when situation arises. No. I was sharing with someone. I was sharing with someone how my children will ask me. It got to a point where our son will ask me, Mommy, do you want to cry? A lot of us, we don't want to be vulnerable in the presence of our children. We want to prove that we are unbreakable. We want to prove that we are strong. We want to prove, that mommies and daddies are strong and they are not supposed to cry like children and all of that. But there's message that your child is likely to pick from that. Your child will learn to cry alone, and that could be dangerous. That could be dangerous. One of the reasons why that I have discovered in my relationship with teenagers, why many of them hide they have something they call their private life that they don't want to share with anybody. They don't even want to share with their parents, even the burdens they are carrying, the pain, the agony, and all of that. Is because their parents has given them impression that being able to suppress your emotions means being strong. Expressing your emotions responsibly is not weakness. When something happens, something that warrants you to cry in the presence of your child and you are crying, that doesn't make you a weak parent. It doesn't. It just makes you, human. I do say this for many of us that will see crying as big deal. Let me not say what just comes to my mind now. Now we see crying as big deal. Even Jesus, our Lord and Savior, the mighty man Jesus, he expressed his emotions when he got to the tomb of Lazarus. Yes, because he felt and he expressed his feelings, he expressed his emotions. The Bible recorded it that Jesus wept. Jesus wept. So why are we forming, Superman, Superwoman, that something is really, really, I was listening to someone talking about parenting and all of that, and the person was said she's a pastor's wife invited to come and teach parenting, And she said a lot of things, a lot of printable things. She said, hey, when you are tired, when you are weak, when you are this about parenting, don't let your child know. Just go into the corner of your room and cry to the Lord and pray to the Lord and all of that. Am I saying we should not cry to the Lord? No, of course, I'm not saying that. Am I saying we should not pray? No, I am not saying that. But it's okay when you are tired. Let your child know. It's a feeling. Express it. You are feeling tired. Express it. Express it. There have been instances that I needed to break down in the presence of my children, and I did it without feeling shame, without feeling ashamed. I am teaching them to be human, to be expressive. To be expressive. So when children learn to stop crying around their parents, they are not just learning to stop crying, they are learning to cry alone. And that could be dangerous. That could be harmful. It could be when a child has learned, especially from parents, learn from parents to deal with situations alone. And sometimes when these children shared what they are going through with me, oh my goodness, I'll be like, how can this little girl of 14, 15, 16 years be carrying this burden all alone, all along for years, and they are living with their parents. They're living with their, and they are forming, strong now. When some of you see teenagers and say, teenagers are strong, they are strong-willed, they are this. No, many of them, so many of them are not as strong as you think. They have just learned, especially from their parents, to, prove that they are strong. And that is not strength, it is weakness. So by the end of this video, you will learn what emotional invalidation really means. Many of us will invalidate our children's emotion without us even knowing. We will also learn why children remembers it for decades. If you are thinking of people who can keep record, they are children. They are children. I have said this many times. Your child may not remember the toys you bought, the number of toys you bought, the number of shoppings, the beautiful dresses, beautiful shoes, toys, everything that you bought for your child. Your child may not remember when your child grows up, but your child remembers something. Your child will remember something. Excuse me. Your child will always remember how you made him or her feel as a child. Take note of that. So, as much as you buy goodies, as much as you take your children on vacation, you take them on shopping and all of that, be careful of how you made them feel, especially during your child's vulnerable moments. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful, because they remember it even decades after. You will also learn the hidden damage it causes, the science behind emotional suppression, what emotionally healthy parents sounds like. Yes, I'm going to teach you what it looks like, what emotionally, healthy parenting, what it looks like, and exactly what to do when your child is crying, when your child is having meltdown, when your child is throwing tantrums. If you are here with me, let me hear you from the chat box. Say, yeah, hi, coach. Let me see you. Say hi, coach. Okay, hi, coach. Hi, coach. All right, thank you all for being here with me. So let's talk about what stop crying really teaches a child. Many of us might have fallen into this trap, even me, your coach. Trust me, I am very vulnerable and I don't form perfect parenting. Even as a parenting expert, like I do say, I'm still learning about parenting. I'm still working on my parenting because parenting is a journey. It's not a destination. So I keep learning, I keep growing, I keep striving to do better on my parenting journey. So many of us has fallen into this trap of, it's one of the commonest and easiest thing to say when a child is crying, even before asking, why are you crying? Why? What is making you to cry? How are you feeling? The first thing many of us will say is stop crying. Stop crying, because many of us were not allowed to express as a child. So when your child is crying, it's triggering you. It's taking you back. It's opening up your own childhood trauma. Hmm? Your own childhood trauma. So what stop crying parenting teaches a child? Most of us think we are teaching resilience when your child is crying and you're saying stop crying. But children often hear something totally different from what you're saying. They often, they hear something different from what we are saying as a parent. So when you say stop crying, you mean calm down, be calming down. You mean get yourself together, right? You mean you can move on. You mean this, you can handle this. This is actually not a big deal. You mean I expect this not to be a problem, and all of that. Now, you know what it means when you say stop crying. But to your child, mm, it means what the child is hearing is that my feelings are wrong. Can you see? You mean you can move on. You'll be okay. Be calming down. This you can get yourself together. It could even mean I trust you to be able to handle this situation. But to your child, what your child is hearing is that my feelings are wrong. My emotions bother you. That your child's emotions bother you, that my pain is inconveniencing you. And of course, most times when we say that stop crying, we don't say it with love. I used to say, will you stop crying right now? How we used to say it now. Come on, stop crying, my friend. Will you keep your mouth shut? And all of that. How do you say your own? Let's hear you in the comment box. How do you normally say your? So your child is hearing, don't bring your emotions to me. And these are not what you meant. But this is what your child is hearing. Can you now see that there's a problem? Will you now agree with me that there are hidden damages, silent damages that your stop crying is causing your child? All right. So a 5-year-old girl scrapes his nail, her nail. Maybe she was running and she fell and she scraped her knee and she runs to you crying. She was crying and the parents said, stop crying. I experienced this, I think last time when I went to pick her children at school. I didn't even know that the girl was the proprietor's daughter, and this girl fell. She peeled, her nail peeled, and the girl was bleeding, kind of, and the girl was crying, and she ran to the mother, and the mother said, I don't like to hear you cry. A child is feeling pain. A child just fell down, had bruise, crying, expressing. And the first thing is that, I don't like hearing you cry. I was like, if as adults, if you got injured, would you smile? Would you start laughing? The child is being realistic. The child is expressing honestly. And you're like, and that's what many of us do. Many of us. And you say, stop crying. You are okay. The The parent sees a small injury. You are seeing small injury. Maybe is this just a little scratch? But the child is experiencing big emotions, big feelings. And the mismatch is where the damage happens. The mismatch. The parent is here, the child is here. And that is where the damage happens. That is where the damage begins. All right. So, let me ask you, what was the phrase you heard as a child when you were growing up that, that sounds like your pain or your emotion is being dismissed? Let's hear you from in the comments box. So we move to the second part. Why children never forget it. Children, like I said in the introduction, children will never forget emotional invalidation. Especially if you do this consistently. Parents, if you are doing it consistently, if you are watching me, if you have a toddler, or a school age child, please be careful. And take what I'm teaching you tonight, take it seriously. You still have opportunity, to do it right, to get it right. Many of us who now have teenagers or maybe preteen, adolescents, there's still chance. But if you have a toddler, you are lucky that you are watching me this night. You are lucky because you have the very opportunity to do it right, to get it right. So I want you to reflect. I want you to think back and reflect. Who comforted you when you were vulnerable? Who comforted you? Who ignored you? Who? And who mocked your tears? If you ask me now, I would say my mom. I would say my mom. You're crying. Why are you crying? What is making you to cry? What? And unfortunately, I started that too. And that's why I keep saying that healing from your childhood trauma is one of the greatest breakthrough you can have if you want to parent with wholeness. A lot of things that our parents did to us, we didn't like it. But because we have been conditioned and because that's all that we knew, even though we didn't like it, we found ourselves repeating that cycle to our children. That cycle must stop. You must break that cycle. That cycle must end with you because in me, it has ended with me. Oh, yes, it has. And I'm still walking. I'm still walking. I'm still walking. I'm still walking. So most people you could remember who comforted you, who mocked your tears, who ignored you. At least you'll be able, no matter how old you are, you'll be able to remember one or two things, right? So most of us will remember. Most of us. Why? Because emotional experience become, deeply encoded in us. Let me say this again. I said emotional experiences become deeply encoded. You know what it means to be encoded? Is there, is registered, is fixed, is there. Children may forget events, so many events that happened, many I forgot, but my feelings, I still remember. I still remember how I felt when I was living with my grandmother. I still remember how I felt, how my uncles made me feel than many events that actually happened. So children may forget events, but they rarely forget emotional experiences. They rarely forget it, especially, I'm emphasizing, especially what happened during their vulnerable moments. During their vulnerable moments, they rarely forget that. They rarely forget that. So you really need to pay attention to this. So they remember the shape, They remember the rejection. They remember the comfort. They remember the safety. Who made them feel safe? Who made them unsafe? Who made them feel comfortable and uncomfortable? Who made them feel accepted and rejected? They will remember. They will. They will. A grown adult still remember. I, I still remember. I still remember instances where my uncles. I lived with three of my uncles, grown-up uncles, would laugh at me during my vulnerable moments. Hmm? And a grown-up adult can still remember being laughed at for crying after losing something, maybe losing a pet or something. They cannot remember what they had that day. We may not be able to remember everything that happened that day, but how you felt. Hey, how you felt, the emotional wound, the trauma, they will remember. Why is this so? Because emotions are memory glue. Emotions are memory glue. Emotions are memory glue. Put that in the comment section. Emotions are memory glue. Yes. And what happens when these repeat for years? What happens when this repeat for years? What happens? What happens? Then that takes us into the hidden damage of emotional invalidation. The hidden damage of emotional invalidation. The hidden damage of emotional invalidation. The first damage I like to talk about is emotional suppression. Children learn, feel it. Oh, it's okay to feel it, oh, but don't show it. Emotional suppression. We teach our children this without knowing. Without knowing. So when you're telling a boy child that boys don't cry, what you are telling that child is okay to feel, but please don't you dare show it. Don't you dare express it. You know, my beloved, my husband will share with me when he was in, I think he was in secondary school, when they do competition, when they were being beaten by teachers, and they will be forming big boy that you must not cry as big boy, you must not cry, and they'll be beating them, they'll be doing odechi, odechi, you are proving that you are strong. It is wrong teaching. Their brain has been conditioned that being able to suppress emotions means you are strong. It is actually weakness in the real sense of it. It is weakness. So the eating damage of emotional invalidation, when you're not validating your child's feelings, you're not validating your child's emotion, you are dismissing your child's feeling. The first damage is that you are suppressing your child's emotion. You are telling your child that it's okay to feel, but it is not okay to show it. It is not okay to express it. And this eventually becomes don't feel at all. If this persists, if this happens consistently, what the child will eventually learn is don't feel at all. And that is why we have people who lack empathy. People, I don't want to use wicked. That could be too extreme. That is why we have people who cannot even put themselves in other people's shoes to have a glimpse of how the other person is feeling. That is why we have husbands. I hear some things that how some people treat their wife, and I'll be like, are these people actually human beings? Can they feel? Can they feel? This is where it begins. Emotional suppression. It teaches children, it teaches a child that it is okay to feel, but it is not okay to show it. You can feel, but don't show it. Don't express your feelings. And eventually, it becomes don't feel at all. The second damage is poor emotional vocabulary. Poor emotional vocabulary. You can put that in the comment section. Poor emotional vocabulary. Children cannot manage what they cannot, express, what they cannot identify. For you to be able to tame your emotions, to control your feelings, you must be able to name it. If you cannot name it, you cannot tame it. If you cannot name it, you cannot tame it. You are angry. You don't even know that you are angry. You don't know the difference between being angry and being sad. You cannot manage it. So when you invalidate your child's emotion, you say things like, stop crying, this is not a big deal, you get over it, this is small, why are you crying? Boys don't cry, big girls, you're a big girl now, see why you are crying publicly, you are doing this, you are doing that. The second damage is that you are raising a child who is poor in emotional vocabulary. Emotional vocabulary. Because your child will not be able to identify what exactly he or she is feeling. Many adults only know fine, angry, stress, nothing else. Nothing else. We don't know sad, mad, we don't know anxious, we don't know, emotions, different feelings. It is very, very important. Then the third damage is emotional disconnection. Hmm. And this is huge. Emotional disconnection. They stop checking, what do I feel? They stop checking, what do I feel? What do I feel? What do I feel? How am I feeling what I'm feeling? They disconnect from their emotions. And it's a big deal. It is a big deal. It is really a big deal. If we raise children who would disconnect from their emotions, hey, there is fire on the mountain. The result will be in the next 10, 15, 20 years. And remember, if you are raising a boy child, you are raising somebody's husband. If you are raising a girl child, you are raising somebody's wife. And altogether, you are raising somebody's parents. We have to be intentional. So they stop checking, what do I feel? Instead, they ask, what am I allowed to feel? What am I allowed to feel? Dear parents, you need to watch this. It's a big problem if a child learns to disconnect with feelings, with his or emotions, because definitely, of course, the child is disconnected. How does the child want to manage it? The child will not be able to manage, and that's why you see adults that when they are angry, they start breaking things. They start turning things upside down. They start turning things upside down because they have learned to disconnect from their emotions, to disconnect from their feelings. They are not even realistic. They are not even truthful to themselves. I used to have an auntie. Whenever she's angry, she will say, "I'm feeling angry right now." Even though at that time I didn't actually understand, because I was quite young, I didn't understand what emotional intelligence or emotional vocabulary is all about. But I do admire that. He will say, "I'm very angry right now." And you know what? The day the day she actually misbehaved because she was angry, I was like, no, this person that got this auntie angry really did something that is very, in fact, people didn't bother to hear from the other person, from the other party. Because once she said, "I'm getting angry, I'm feeling very, very angry," the next minute she will start laughing. Why? She was able to control that emotion because she was able to, give the emotions, the feelings, vocabulary, a name. And she didn't disconnect from that emotion. So she was able to manage frequently, she relate with people and all of that. And when things happen, she say, I'm feeling angry right now. And before, by the time she said that 2 or 3 times, she start laughing, and everybody will start laughing with her. So emotional disconnection, emotion, that's the third damage. That leads us to the fourth damage: relationship problems. Relationship problems. Future spouse say, talk to me. They can't. Talk to me. They can't. Not because they don't want to talk, not actually because they don't want to talk, no, but because they never learned how to. And let me bust your bubble. I used to be like this. When I'm angry, I don't feel like talking. I just keep, or when things are not, going my way, I just I just turn off. I just disconnect. Not because I was bad, but because I was not taught. Probably I didn't learn. I didn't learn how to talk, how to express myself. And when I want to talk, I say big, big things, big, big words, big words that if you if after saying those words, the issue would have been resolved. But what I said will still remain fresh in the brain of the person that I said it to. So because I was trying to avoid this, I would keep quiet. And my mother would be like, no, when you're angry, you speak up. Say it. Say what is making you feel angry. ah, who is with me on that table? I have left you. I am not a changed person. I am a born again. I am born again. All right. Then the fifth damage is mental health struggle. Mental health struggle. So unexpressed emotions often emerge as anxiety. Listen to this. Unexpressed emotions, so that you will understand why you actually need to teach your children to be able to express their emotions. Unexpressed emotions often emerge as anxiety, explosive anger, explosive anger, withdrawal, perfectionism. Did you get that? Anger, sorry, anxiety, explosive anger, perfectionism, withdrawal, chronic stress. Yes, chronic stress, unexpressed, unexpressed feelings, unexpressed emotions. So if you have an adult who is constantly anxious, even a child, it could be that one of the reasons would be that that child has not been taught, has not been allowed to express his or her feelings, his or her emotion. Chronic stress, perfectionism. Now let's talk about the myth of toughening children up. Some of us, we think what we are doing is to toughen our children up. We say life is hard, life is hard, life is hard. So I need to raise my child to be tough. I need to do this so that my child will be able to, stand and be Jim. Let me talk about the myth of toughening children up. The first myth is life is hard, therefore children need tough parents. This is one of the lies that was sold to us, that life is hard. They have been saying it. They have been saying it. I heard it as a child many times. Ayé yìí le o. Ayé yìí le. Ayé yìí le o. Ayé yìí le o. Life is hard. So children need tough parents. It's a myth. The reality is that truly, I agree with you that life is actually hard, which is exactly why children need emotional skill. So instead of saying, yeah, life is hard, so I need to be hard for my parents, for my children, I need to be a hard parent, I need to be a tough parent. No, equip your child with emotional skills. Emotional skills. Here is the comparison. Weakness is avoiding emotions. Like I said in my introduction, we think it's strength, suppressing emotions, avoiding emotions. We think is strength. It's not strength, it is actually weakness. Strength is managing emotions. Strength is managing emotions. Resilience isn't built in the absence of emotions. Let me say this again. Resilience isn't built in the absence of emotions. You can't build resilience in absence of emotion. It is the ability to move through emotion. It is the ability, resilience is the ability to move through emotions. Hmm? Feelings are signals. We really need to understand. And when we understand this, it will help us in our parenting journey. It will help us to raise children who are emotionally skilled. Feelings are signals. Ignoring signals doesn't mean you are stronger. Oh. Do you know? For instance, uh, uh, you are driving and you saw a traffic light and you are ignoring it. It doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you to be less aware whether a vehicle is coming that could hit you or you could hit something. It makes you less aware. That's just it. That is just it. So that's myth. That myth. You should drop that myth tonight. Hmm? That life is hard. So you as a parent, you need to be tough for your child. It's a myth. Truly, life is hard. I agree. Life is hard. Life is hard. This is why your child need emotional skill. So instead of being a tough parent, equip your children with necessary emotional skills, emotional vocabulary, emotional management tools, and all of that. So what happens inside a child's brain when we practice this our stop crying excuse me this our stop crying parenting? What happens in the child's brain? Let's talk about that. So when children become stressed, all these statements, they end up stressing our children because, like I said, that emotions that are unexpressed emotions often show up as anxiety, chronic stress, perfectionism, and all of that. So when children become distressed, their emotional brain activates. The emotional brain is the amygdala. I've talked about it in one of the classes when I was talking about neuroscience of discipline, something like that. The video is on my YouTube channel. If you miss that, you can look for it. So it will help you to understand how children brain works. So when you understand how children brain work, you will understand how to discipline effectively. So when children become distressed, when you say things, your child is crying, you say, stop crying. This is not a big deal. You will get over it. Big boys don't cry. Grown up girls, you're bigger now. Prove that you're bigger. If this happens, if you are saying this consistently, you will end up distressing your child. So your child will become distressed. And when your child is distressed, what happens in the child's brain? The emotional part, the emotional brain, the section of the brain that is responsible for emotions, which is called the amygdala, will be activated. And when that part of the brain is activated, logical brain goes off. Logical brain is the prefrontal cortex. This is the section of the brain that is responsible for thinking, for learning, for emotional control, for impulse control, for decision making. The prefrontal cortex. So The amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, they work at opposites. When one is on, the other one is off automatically. So when a child is distressed, the emotional part of the brain is on, and the logical part of the brain goes off. So at that time, your child cannot learn. Your child cannot make healthy choices. Your child cannot control his or her pulses. Can you see what I'm seeing? Okay, so children borrow regulation from adults. They borrow, I said this in my book, Peaceful Parenting. It will soon be out. It's on proofreading stage. Peaceful Parenting. That children will first borrow your own calm before they can learn how to be calm. So if you are not teaching your children how to be calm, your child, no child is born with it. It's a skill that we all learn. It's a skill that we all learn. So children borrow regulation from adults, meaning that a calm parent will raise a calm child. A calm parent will raise a calm child. And a dismissive parent, will raise a disconnected child. If you're always dismissing your child's feelings, you will raise a disconnected child. Your child will be disconnected with you. Even if you are living under the same, even if you are sleeping on the same bed, emotionally, your child will be disconnected with you. So children borrow emotional regulation before they develop their own. Your own emotional regulation is the foundation upon which your child will build his or her own emotional regulation. So we need to watch it. We really, 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 really need to watch it. All right. So if stop crying isn't the answer, you may be asking, and all of these things that coach is saying, and so what should we now say now? A child is crying, a child is making noise, and you are saying stop crying is not the right word to say. It's not the right. So what should we do actually? Don't worry, I will tell you. I will tell you. Trust me that I will not just break the table. I will replace the table for you. So what to do instead? Instead of saying stop crying, say I can see you are feeling upset. That is validation. Validation. Sometimes I'll tell our children, I can see you are having big feelings. If you're not sure whether your child is sad or angry or upset, I said, I can see you're having big feelings. Can you share with me? And sometimes they will say, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry, and all of that. That is validation. That is validation. You are teaching your child emotional vocabulary. And once your child is able to name the feelings, the emotions, your child will be able to manage it. And your child will not grow up to become adults who cannot manage his or emotions. Your child will not grow up to adult who will slap his wife because he is angry. And I hope no parent is doing that here. I trust you now. You won't do that. All right. So instead of saying you are fine, try that feel really painful. That really feel painful. Instead of saying you are fine now, you'll be fine now. Say that really feel painful. It seems that really pains you. Hmm? Something like that. Instead of saying it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Especially when you have toddlers and toddlers are throwing toddlers can throw tantrums on hey the smallest thing. As in, imagine this morning I was serving food and I served food in my plate. I already served the food oh, and this boy ran out from nowhere and he started screaming, this is the plate I want to use. I want to use this plate to take my food. I was like, but this is my plate. He said, hey, this is the plate I want to use. I said, but I've taken it. To you, it may mean nothing, but to that child, it's a big deal. I have to calm him and say, okay, you want this plate? Okay, I understand that. But I've served my food. And you can't finish this portion, so I can't give it to you. So you wait. When I finish my food, then you can use the plate. And that was how I was able to manage that. I didn't say, you look keep quiet, is it because of this yeah, plate? This is not a big thing, now you can always take another plate. No, that is dismissing your child's feelings, dismissing your child's emotion. You may think that is just, trivial things, things that doesn't really make sense. If that happens consistently, even when things that make sense, even when something that is a big deal happens, your child will still not be able to express your his or her emotion, because your child's brain will have been conditioned that if I say this to my mom will invalidate it. If I tell my dad this, my dad will invalidate. So there's no point sharing it. Let me keep up with it. And that's that could affect your child's mental health. So again, instead of saying calm down, say I am here with you. I am here with you. You see, sometimes when children are throwing tantrums and they are, doing all of that, we the parents we are usually pushed to keep talking, to keep shouting. But one of the best things that you can do is to try and say almost nothing. Almost nothing. It's hard to do, but it's actually the best. Sometimes I'll just tell my children, it's okay, I can see you're having big feelings. I'm here when you want to share with me. I'll be ready to listen. Hmm? So uh, um, try that. Okay, so let me leave you with three-step emotional coaching framework. Three-step emotional coaching framework. Step one is notice. It's simple. You can start using it right now. If you need to watch this session again, I normally cut it, I put timestamp so that you can jump into any session in case you do not have time to sit down for an hour to watch all of this. You can jump into the sessions, and I will do the demarcation on the description, so it will be easy for you to jump to where exactly you want to. So you might need to watch this session again. The three-step emotional coaching framework. Very simple, very easy to use. Step one, notice. I see you're upset. Notice. Notice what your child is feeling. I see you are feeling upset. I see you're having big feelings. I see you are feeling sad. I see you are feeling angry. If you cannot name exactly what your child is feeling, or you don't want to, you don't want to say exactly what your child is feeling, you can say, I can see you're having big feelings. I can see you're having big feelings. So when you say that, that could be an invitation for your child to share. And if your child doesn't want to share at that time, it's okay. Just keep yourself open. Let your child know, whenever you want to share with me, I am available to listen. So step one is notice. Step two, name. Name. You seems disappointed. You seems frustrated. It seems as if you are anxious. Hmm? Name. Name. That's step two. Then step three, navigate. Navigate. What can we do next? What do we do? Where do we go from now? You have noticed, you have named, then you need to navigate. Validation is not agreement. I said it in my introduction that I'm not teaching. This is not about, teaching, raising fragile children or permissive parenting. No, it is not. It is about differentiating between behavior management, managing behavior, and managing emotions. They are two different things. So validation is not agreement. That you validate doesn't mean you accept. It doesn't mean giving in. Like the example I showed you, I talked about our son this morning. Yes, I validated. I know that you actually wanted this plate, but I still didn't give the plate. I didn't, but I validated his feelings because that was actually how he was feeling. Maybe it was feeling like it was not treated well, that because he was angry. This is the plate I want to use. I said this. I validated, but I still did not give that plate because I've already served my food. You don't expect me to now give you my food when it's actually not your plate. It's actually not your plate, and even if it's your plate, by the way, it's everybody's plate. So validation is not agreement. You can validate feelings while correcting behavior. You can validate feelings and still be highly boundaried. You can validate feelings and still maintain your stand. You can be firm at the same time and be stern. You can. You can. All right? You can. For example, I also understand you are angry. It's okay to be angry, but it is not okay to eat. You have validated, you have named, and you are walking your child through that. It is not okay. Yes, you are angry. It's okay that you are feeling angry, but it's not okay to eat. Now, what is the healing power of one sentence? Many parents worry. They have said stop crying hundred of years. Now that you are saying we should stop doing that, what exactly is it? Children don't need perfect parents. Children don't need perfect parents. They need repairing parents. Children don't need perfect. I keep saying it. Parenting is not about perfection. Don't even look at me as a parenting coach. Because you are a specialist in this thing, so you are perfect. No, I'm not perfect. Something still happened today. Before I came into class, my husband was telling me that you shouldn't have done what you did. And I had it in mind to go and apologize to our child. Hmm? So parenting is not about perfection. It is about intention, being intentional, being repairing. When you do something that normally you're not supposed to do, because we are human, we can make errors, we can commit blunders. Sometimes even our emotions can get the better of us, and it is okay. While we work on dealing with our emotions, while we work on getting better on our parenting journey, hmm, our children don't need us to be perfect. As a matter of fact, the quest to be perfect is one of the things that is pushing us to, to get it wrong in our parenting. Our children need repairing parents. Parents who are willing to learn, who are willing to grow, who are willing to repair. That is who our children actually want. So healing statement sounds like, I am listening. Tell me more. I am interested in what you are about to say. I love to talk to you. I love it when you talk to me. I'm not tired of listening to you. I understand. This sounds so hard. Thank you for telling me. You know, these are statements that we need to consciously put in, you know, and say frequently. I love to hear from you. There was a day our baby was asking me questions. Questions that I would say, he was asking, Mommy, if somebody put slippers inside grinder and on it, what will happen? If somebody heard questions, and he kept asking different questions, one after the other. Mommy, if I do this, silly things that you would think, where is all this coming from? It got to a point. Our older son said, why are you asking mommy too much question? I'm like, I love to hear from him. The truth is that this child is thinking. That is what it means. Even though what he's thinking may sound off or something, but the truth remains that he is thinking, and I have to be there. So all the questions that this boy asked me, I made sure I answered them. And sometimes, if I can't answer, I would say, please, I don't feel like talking right now. Let's fix it for another time. We can talk about it some other time. So we need to intentionally incorporate healing statements in our day-to-day, conversation with our children. I'm listening. I love to hear you speak to me. Tell me more. Share with me. That sounds so hard. I understand. I would also do the same if I were you. Things like that. Thank you for telling me when your child tells you something. Then shut up. Even the things that seems nonsense, that are nonsense. Thank you, your child. I will tell you that. Thank you for telling me. Even information that you have nothing to do with it. Say thank your child. You are encouraging your child to keep talking to you. And when something bad or something you need to know, it may not even be something bad, but something that is so important that you need to know, your child will feel comfortable sharing with you. You don't expect that because you are the parent, so your child should now come and be telling you everything. No, you need to engineer your parenting system from now. As a child, you need to engineer your parenting system so that your child will feel comfortable when your child grows up. Your child will not, a child that's not speaking to you as a toddler, a child who is not telling you all those nonsenses. Hmm? Hmm. We don't tell you something that makes sense as an adult, as a teenager. So you need to start engineering your own, for that. The goal is not raising children who never cry. No, like I said in my introduction, that's not the goal. The goal is not raising children who never cry. If you are raising children and your children, your child is forming strong head and all of that, that's not the goal. You are missing something. There's something you are not doing correctly. The goal is raising children who understand, who know what to do with their tears. That's the goal. The goal is raising children who can be in charge of their tears. All right. So imagine your child at age 25. Maybe your child is 10 years, 8 years, 12 years, or even 15 years. Now imagine, look into the future and imagine your child at age 25. Who do you want your child to become? Who? At that age, who do you want your child to become? Someone disconnected from his or her feelings? Is that what you want? Or someone who is deeply connected with his or her feelings? Someone who is disconnected from his or her feelings, or someone who is emotionally healthy, emotionally aware, and emotionally strong. Emotionally healthy, emotionally aware, and emotionally strong. Who do you want your child to become at age 25? The journey begins now. The journey begins now that your child is 6 months old. Yes, you heard me. The journey begins right now that your child is 2 years old. In fact, if you have a 2-year-old child and you have not been incorporating all those things that I've taught today, you are wrong. But don't worry, you can still meet up. Just be intentional. The journey starts now. It starts now with how you respond to your child's tears now. The journey begins now. So with how you manage your child's vulnerable moments. The journey begins now. All right. So let me ask you as we round up this class, what phrases do you hear growing up when you cry? Did you hear stop crying? Me, I heard a lot of stop crying. Will you stop crying? Some of us, did you hear this? Me, I heard it too. If you don't stop crying now, I will give you what you cry about. How many of you heard that? Let's hear that in the chat box. I heard that. Tó bá dákẹ́ ńsìn, máa fún ẹ ní nǹkan tó fi máa sunkún. Ṣé o fẹ́ sunkún ni? Ṣé you say that too? You are dismissing your child's feelings. You are invalidating your child's feelings. And it is dangerous. If you found this class, this session so helpful, please give me a thumb up and share the link to this class to parents on your contact, on your Facebook pages, your WhatsApp status. Share it. These are the kind of messages parents need to hear this season that we have. And please, every Saturday, don't forget, we are here by 7 p.m. talking about parenting, dealing with hard truths, hard teachings about parenting. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. If you stayed to this end, please, you will love my next video. Please click on my next video and watch. That will also help you, and it will add more sweetness to this class. Thank you all for joining me. Once again, my name is Ayoluwa Adebide. I'm the founder and the lead consultant at the Model Family Focus, and I am called the parenting guru because everything about parenting, I love it. I love to talk about parenting. I love to write parenting. I love to teach parenting. I love to learn parenting. I even love to parent. I am also a public speaker and author. I have written 8 books, and the links to my books, you want to get any of my books, you get the link in the description box on my YouTube channel. Please meet me again, same time, same venue, next week, Saturday by 7 p.m. Until next time, keep parenting with intention.